Breaking Hurricane Milton, a large area of destruction storm surge with highest inundations of 10 feet or greater is expected along a portion of the west central coast of the Florida Peninsula. If you are in the storm surge warning area, this is an extremely life-threatening situation. The time to evacuate, if told to do so by local officials, is quickly coming to a close. Devastating hurricane-force winds are expected along portions of the west coast of Florida, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Milton is forecast to remain a hurricane while it crosses the Florida Peninsula, and life-threatening hurricane-force winds, especially in gusts, are expected to spread inland across the peninsula. Preparations to protect life and property, including being ready for long-duration power outages, should be rushed to completion. Heavy rainfall across the Florida Peninsula through Thursday brings the risk of catastrophic and life-threatening flash and urban flooding, along with moderate to major river flooding, especially in areas where coastal and inland flooding combine to increase the overall flood threat. Buckle up, Buttercup. A lot's going on right now. Let's take a look at the latest charts and wind speed probabilities, as well as the satellite information. Plenty available here, and they continue to update. This is the latest tropical storm force winds probabilities graph you can see from NOAA. And Florida, you're smack in the center of it. The most intense part of the cone there, it looks like it's going to hit Central Florida or the coast of Central Florida. The probabilities of sustained 1-minute average surface wind speeds equal to or exceeding 39 miles per hour. These wind speed probability graphics are based on the official National Hurricane Center track, intensity, and wind radii forecasts. See what the arrival times are here. These have changed also. Looks like now, by about Wednesday at 2 p.m. is what they're projecting the hurricane winds to hit the coast. The timing graphics are created using the same Monte Carlo wind speed probability models that are currently used to determine the risk of tropical storm and hurricane force winds at individual locations. A model in which 1,000 plausible scenarios are constructed using the official NHC tropical cyclone forecast and its historical errors. Additional information on this product and the underlying technique is available on the NHC website. The times shown here are Eastern Standard Time. It's like 6 hours of extremely intense winds if these graphs are right. Wednesday starting at about 2 p.m. on the coast, on the west coast, and leaving the east coast approximately 8 p.m. Wow. We just look at it. Now the graph here shows the cone going through Central Florida here. You can see the wind speeds and all the data down here on the legend. I'm going to leave links in the video description box for all this. Here's what H stands for as far as wind speeds go. You can see the H at 8 a.m. on Thursday. Wind speeds, forecast positions, approximately 74 to 110 miles per hour. The M, when it hits the coast, it's like 110 plus miles per hour. Here's the storm surge inundation map. Look at that, greater than 9 feet. Much of the coast around Sarasota. Storm surge warning. We've got a storm surge watch in Georgia and South Carolina coast. Look at that. Here's the peak storm surge forecast. The Anna Maria Island and Boca Grande in between 10 to 15 feet. Are you serious? Wow. I say wow a lot, don't I? Look at these numbers. Look at this. 10 to 15 feet. Even in the Florida Keys are expected to get 1 to 3 feet. Indian Pass, Yankeetown, 1 to 3 feet. Bonita Beach, Chokoloskee, 5 to 8 feet. Tampa Bay, 8 to 12 feet. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tell you what. Rainfall forecasts. Rainfall amounts of 6 to 12 inches with localized totals up to 18 inches expected across central to northern portions of the Florida Peninsula through Thursday. This rainfall brings the risk of catastrophic and life-threatening flash and urban flooding along with moderate to major river flooding. Here's the flash flooding potential over the next 3 days. Much of Florida under at least 40 to 70%. This huge chunk right here. It's day 2. And day 3. Looks like day 3, the probability of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance is less than 5%. That's good. It's going to be this initial next few days here that are going to make it the most intense. So we'll keep you posted, folks. Let's take a look over at the satellites from earth.nullskull.net. It's like there's 3 right now, or 3 areas to look at. But here we are, Milton, right over here. Climate change, global warming. It's all your fault. That's what we'll tell them. We'll tell them it's all their fault, and they'll believe us because we tell them everything, and they believe everything we say. It's amazing how easy people are. Pretty intense. We'll keep you posted, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep you posted. So this is crazy. Did you hear about that hack that got into 2.9 billion social security numbers and a ton of personal information? And then it was put on the dark web. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all over the place. You can read all about it. I actually got a warning for my credit because I have this thing called LegalShield, which keeps track of my credit. It keeps track of my identity. It also helps out with like social media identity. It's really, really cool. It's kind of like having a lawyer in your pocket, but it's really cheap. But check this out. So this is from ASIS Online. Background check company breach puts 2.9 billion people's records at risk. Background checks often require a lot of personal information to develop an accurate picture of a subject's history and trustworthiness. Now, there are some serious consequences if that information can get leaked or get hacked or get stolen. Earlier this year, a malicious cyber actor targeted a background check firm and allegedly stole millions of people's data, including social security numbers. It's actually more than that. In April of 2023, a cybersecurity company posted on X that about 2.9 billion records of personal data were for sale on the dark web. That data was purportedly stolen from National Public Data, a company that performs background checks. This company is being sued for allegedly failing to properly secure and safeguard the personally identifiable information it collects and maintains. The lawsuit alleged that the information stolen includes individuals' full names, current and past addresses spanning at least the last 3 decades, social security numbers, information about parents, siblings, and other relatives, and other personal identifiable information. The suit also alleged that National Public Data scrapped the PLL of billions of individuals from non-public sources, so data breach victims may not realize their information was in the company's system and are now at risk. And this is according to Bloomberg Law. Listen to this. The named plaintiff, Christopher Hoffman, says he received notification from his identity theft protection service provider on the 24th of July that his data was exposed in a breach and leaked online. He accused National Public Data of negligence, unjust enrichment, and breaches of fiduciary duty and third-party beneficiary contract. According to the suit and separate cybersecurity companies' analysis of the breach, a cyber criminal group going by the name of USDOD posted a database entitled National Public Data on the dark web, on a dark web forum, the 8th of April. The attackers claim to have the personal data of 2.9 billion people, putting the database up for sale for $3.5 million. Before they could sell the information, another threat actor, Venice, scooped the data and released it on the dark web, ZDNet reported. If this, in fact, is pretty much the whole dossier on all of us, it certainly is much more concerning than prior breaches, said Teresa Murray, consumer watchdog director for the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, in an interview. And if people weren't taking precautions in the past, which they should have been doing, this should be a 5-alarm wake-up call for them. National Public Data appears to have resisted acknowledging the data theft for months. Last week, the company posting a security incident notice to its site to report potential leaks of certain data in April 2024 and summer 2024. We cooperated with law enforcement and governmental investigators and conducted a review of the potentially affected records and will try to notify you if there are further significant developments applicable to you, the company's statement said. We have also implemented additional security measures in efforts to prevent the reoccurrence of such a breach and to protect our systems. Wow, well, I feel so much safer now, don't you? They're going to try to tell you if they find any more information. I mean, talk about completely out of control. What a breach of trust. I mean, that is some pretty serious information. Now, you could help protect your information with a company called LegalShield. I actually got involved with LegalShield after I read about my social security number being on the dark web. And I was like, oh, I got to do something about this. It's super cheap. Now, just send me a text if you want more information about this. And once again, you can send me a text at 970-616-5677. But I would definitely get involved with this sooner or later because, I mean, the information's already out there. And there's so many services that this LegalShield provides. You can see right here, wills and estates, family law, consumer matters, real estate. You can speak to a lawyer within a business day. You can get legal advice. You can pick an area of law, and they have your back, like a lot, up to $3 million worth of protection. So social media protection also. A lot of good stuff with this company. Great company. And let's get back to the podcast right now, shall we? Boom! Halo! This is from Wyon. Earth's continental crust in America and China is breaking apart, researchers warn. Some cratons of the continental crust have gone through destruction due to mantle, convection, or tectonic events. Researchers who have been studying the dramatic changes in the continental configurations of Earth over billions of years have made a stunning observation that the oldest continental crusts are disintegrating. According to experts, the Earth's crust went through expansion and contraction and has transformed not only its positions, but also the topography across the entire planet. From the time Earth came into existence, there has been long-term stability in some cratons of the continental crust, and others have gone through little destruction because the mantle, convection, or tectonic events. In the new research, scientists have been investigating the reason behind the deformation of cratons and found that it has happened because of a process called decratonization. The study has been published in Nature Geoscience. So what's the cause of decratonization in the Earth's mantle? Some experts believe that the possible cause of decratonization is subduction, a process in which a denser mantle is pushed beneath another, and deep mantle plumes, a process in which one of the segments of the mantle rises to the surface because of buoyancy. However, there have been many failed attempts to determine the mechanism which is pushing the deformation and destruction of Earth's cratons. China University of Geosciences professor Xiaofeng Liu investigated the disintegration of the North China Craton and the Western Pacific Ocean, which has been taking place for more than 200 million years. The North American Craton, South American Craton, and the Yangtze Craton in China may have experienced similar deformation. All of these may have experienced early flat slab subduction. However, intense subsequent rollback subduction might have occurred in the Yangtze Craton. In contrast, the North American Craton underwent trench retreat following flat slab subduction, but did not exhibit significant slab rollback, said Professor Liu. as reported by phys.org. Ancient lithosphere can be broken apart, and this disintegration can be caused by this special form of subduction occurring near oceanic plates, revealing how the continents evolved over Earth's history, he added. There you go. That's how it's done. Duh. But everybody knew that. Didn't we all know that? Everybody knows that. The next article. This is from Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. Meteorologist John Morales. There's rapid intensification. There's extreme rapid intensification. And then there's Hurricane Milton. Oh, yeah. Fresh on the heels of Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton is barreling towards the Florida Peninsula and is likely to make landfall near Tampa Bay. Home of more than 3.1 million people in the metropolitan area, sometime late Wednesday or early Thursday. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor issued a stark warning to the city's residents. There's never been one like this. Helene was a wake-up call. This is literally catastrophic. I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of these evacuation areas, you're going to die. When Miami-based meteorologist John Morales wrote in the Bulletin last week that Hurricane Helene was a harbinger of the future, who knew that the future would be here now? I caught up with Morales in between his frequent on-air appearances on NBC6 to discuss what makes Hurricane Milton so remarkable and so remarkably dangerous, particularly if it hits Tampa Bay head on. We also discussed what was going through his mind during an emotional moment on air when he realized that Hurricane Milton had become a Category 5 storm in less than a day. So John says, when asked by Jessica McKenzie, so Jessica says, I was wondering if you could tell me what you're seeing with Hurricane Milton and what sets it apart from other hurricanes. John says, well, it's yet another hurricane with a rapid intensification cycle that we're seeing a lot. But what really sets Milton apart was the hyper extreme intensification that we saw where in a span of 10 hours, the barometric pressure at the center of the hurricane dropped by 50 millibars. I know that's kind of a technical term, but for a meteorologist, that is an astounding drop in barometric pressure. And when the pressure drops, the wind speeds follow. The wind speeds increase because the air is trying to rush it in to replace the relative vacuum of the lower pressure that is found at the center of the hurricane. The wind speeds increased 80 knots, which is 92 miles an hour, in a span of 24 hours. It went from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in a span of 18 hours. So Sunday morning, we woke up to a mundane 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm. And just moments before going on the air yesterday on Channel 6 here in Miami, the news broke that it was a Category 5. So it went from a 50-mile-an-hour storm one morning to a 160-mile-an-hour Category 5 hurricane the next day at noon. It's just very extreme, rapid intensification that sets this one apart. The new norm? Let's hope not. Now, I saw this article, and not many people are talking about it. I think it could be a pretty big story. Let's hope not. But this is Oklahoma News, KFOR, Channel 4. News 4 is diving back into a puzzling issue first brought to viewers Thursday night. Apparent mosquito bites are leaving people with odd symptoms, such as swollen hands and intense pain. Now, since this story aired, countless emails and social media comments from News 4 viewers have flooded in reporting similar reactions to these bug bites. Some doctors are not even sure what to think of it. Each person telling a similar story, well, even parents telling News 4 of their kids being bitten by a mosquito and then bites resulting in swelling, burning, itching, becoming slightly painful, some symptoms even lasting hours, others lasting days. I freaked out, said Tara Morgan, whose daughter had a bad reaction to a mosquito bite. A worried mother seeing her baby swell up after being bit by mosquitoes, not sure what to think. My biggest fear was it swelling to the point where it could have problems with her arteries or closing her throat up or causing breathing issues because it was huge, very, very big, Morgan said. After seeing our first story air, she reached out to News 4 for help. I was like, this is crazy because I thought we were the only ones this is happening to, Morgan said. Her pediatrician told her it's an allergic reaction, but she, her husband, and their kids have never experienced something like this from a mosquito bite until the last couple of months, and they aren't the only ones. I've never had a reaction from a mosquito bite before, said Rick Jackson, who had a bad reaction to a mosquito bite. That, of course, makes a normal little lump, but I've never had a severe reaction from anything like that. Many other viewers sent in emails and dropped comments on the News 4 Facebook post, all saying and showing similar reactions. Jackson lives in Tulsa, and it makes him believe it is not an isolated issue. What was going through my mind is what kind of, virus or disease that thing could be carrying, to cause that, Jackson said. News 4 then reached out to multiple health agencies and bug experts, each saying our story was the first time they have seen or heard something like this happening, which has many concerned. We'll keep you posted. I hope Uncle Bill didn't decide to come out with some new mosquitoes and release them in a... Anyway, that's a whole other podcast. I'm sure you remember that. Yes, they're GMO mosquitoes. Look, everybody. And everybody's like, yeah, he's going to save the world with GMO mosquitoes. What could possibly go wrong? He loves us so much. Oh. Mosquito doom. Not soon. Next article. AP News. Water gushes through sand dunes after a rare rainfall in the Sahara Desert. A rare deluge of rainfall left blue lagoons of water amid the palm trees and sand dunes on the Sahara Desert, nourishing some of its driest regions with more water than they've seen in decades. Southeastern Morocco's desert is among the most arid places in the world, rarely experiencing rain in the late summer. The Moroccan government said 2 days of rainfall in September exceeded yearly averages in several areas that see less than 250 millimeters or 10 inches annually, including Tata, one of the areas hit hardest in Taganite, a village about 450 kilometers south of the capital. Rabat saw more than 3.9 inches, and that was recorded in a 24-hour period. The storms also left striking images of water gushing through the Saharan sand dunes. Amid castles and desert flora, NASA satellites showed water rushing in the Phil Lake Erquy, a famous lake bed between Zagora and Tata that had been dry for 50 years. In desert communities frequented by tourists, 4x4s motored through the puddles and residents surveyed the scene in awe. It's been 30 to 50 years since we've had this much rain in such a short space of time, said Hussein Yoabeb of Morocco's General Directorate of Meteorology. Extreme flooding, glaciers melting, hurricanes, tropical storms. Oh, and they're also saying there could be many tornadoes spawned from this hurricane in Florida. So that's just another thing to look forward to be prepared, not scared. And that's what I say, folks. Be prepared, not scared. I mean, this has got to be pretty cool in the Sahara to see this much rain, right? Like, wow. Some people have never seen this before. It's like the first time they're experiencing this. It's like a whole new world to them. It's pretty cool. But what isn't cool is the devastation, obviously, that Florida is dealing with right now. So may the force be with you, ladies and gentlemen. May the force be with you. I do want to share with you some good news, though. A little bit of good news isn't always bad. A little good news can be good. Won't get as many views, so you got to wait till the end to share it, right? Good news, Comet Enki. Oh, yeah, love Enki. Only threw a handful of giant space rocks in our direction. As comets travel along their orbit, they dump material along the way. A stream of debris known as the Taurid Swarm has been keeping astronomers' attention. It's thought the debris is the remains of Comet Enki, which Comet Enki could have been the comet that devastated the Earth before Göbekli Tepe was established and then recorded that possible incident and then buried and then unburied thousands of years later, like approximately 12,000 years ago. Comet Enki could be the comet that not only nearly wiped out civilization, but also civilizations after that grew extremely fast with a completely different mindset. Civilization changed after Comet Enki, hence Comet Enki. The swarm is believed to be composed of mostly harmless tiny objects, but there has been concern that there may be some larger kilometer-sized chunks. Thankfully, new observations reveal there are the order of 9 to 14 of these 1-kilometer rocks. Planets, minor planets, asteroids, and of course comets are the occupants of our solar system. The comets are small objects composed largely of ice and dust or rocky material, so they say. Listen to this. Comet Encke, a short period comet with an orbital period of 3.3 years. It was first detected in 1786 by Pierre McCain, and its orbit calculated by John and Franz Encke in the late 19th century. Well, that's pretty cool. While most comets originate from the Kuiper Belt or Oort cloud, Encke seems to have found its way closer to the sun, making frequent, predictable visits. Like all comets, Encke deposits debris along the way, and this leads to the Tauride meteor shower, which is visible in October and early November. So the good news is Comet Encke only threw a handful of giant space rocks in our direction. Thank you. Look at some more good news. AI could change the game on the forever chemicals used to make chips. The US and the EU are partnering on an initiative to see if AI can solve a chemical problem. The US government is planning to partner with the European Union on an AI initiative to drive out harmful chemicals from the chip-making process, according to Bloomberg. The US and the EU have drafted a proposed alliance in which government agencies would use AI to determine how manufacturers can remove PFAS from the semiconductor manufacturing process. The proposed plan is part of a broader negotiation system at the week's US-EU Trade and Technology Council meeting in Belgium. We plan to continue working to identify research cooperation opportunities on alternatives to use of PER and PFAS in chips. The statement reads, according to Bloomberg, for example, we plan to explore the use of AI capacities and digital twins to accelerate the discovery of sustainable materials to replace PFAS in semiconductor manufacturing. They're also using AI to help break down PFAS in the drinking water. AI is being used to formulate new types of antibiotics. Listen to this. AI creates new antibiotic formula. This is according to Stanford Medicine. Generative AI develops potential new drugs for antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Stanford Medicine researchers devise a new artificial intelligence model, SyntheMol, which creates recipes for chemists to synthesize the drugs in the lab. Now, that's from Stanford Medicine. This is from The Guardian. Scientists use AI to discover new antibiotic to treat deadly superbug. Thursday's study revealed that researchers used an AI algorithm to screen thousands of antibacterial molecules in an attempt to predict new structural classes. As a result of the AI screening, researchers were able to identify a new antibacterial compound, which they named abusin, spelled A-B-A-U-C-I-N, abusin. Sorry, this is from Nature. Therefore, Swanson created SyntheMol, a generative AI model that designs easy-to-synthesize antibiotic compounds using known molecular building blocks and synthesis reactions. So, we've got a lot going on, folks. We're using artificial intelligence to fix the mistakes people made, amongst other things, but let's look at the bright side. And maybe artificial intelligence can create models and formulas to prevent less catastrophic destruction before, during, and after these monstrous earthquakes and hurricanes and tropical storms. And I mean, the world is definitely reacting to years of abuse, not just from humans, but like, look at the amount of radiation coming in from the sun. Have you noticed the intensity of the sun over the past 25 years, how much more intense it is? Have you noticed how the color has changed? Have you noticed how it feels different on your skin? So there's a lot of variables to this climate change. And I think that maybe artificial intelligence could be a big help if we use it the right way. So be prepared, not scared, folks. Be prepared, not scared. And check out our Patreon page on our website, leakproject.com. We have thousands of hours of exclusive content on our website and our Patreon page. Have a beautiful day. Hit the bell. Be well and be the change you want to see. And I'll see you soon.